My name is Bill S. Preston Esquire,
And I am Ted Theodore Logan, and we are.
and we are the Wild Stallions.
Yee! Welcome Next
Oh my gosh.
Apartment, where tonight we are going to talk about all the Bill and Ted franchise. We are going to drink the famous Whiteclaw, and for our serious conversation, we're going to talk about human space exploration. I am Mike. I'm your host. With me is Thom, my co-host. Thom, how's it going?
Not too bad. I just have to be careful when I talk like that because I tend to not use my diaphragm and I ruin my voice. So,
Uh-oh. No, we
yeah.
wouldn't want that. But
But I got something to wet the whistle, so I think it'll be all right.
so yeah, we might as well start. Mike's apartment
Okay.
scale is we're gonna we're gonna talk about our serious conversation, but at the Mike's apartment scale is 5. 5 is the best. It is ambrosia, food of the gods. 0,
hmm
0 is shit, shit of the gods. Like I said,
hmm
tonight we actually both went with variety pack number 2, which is
hmm
lemon, watermelon, peach, and passion fruit. And I guess we're gonna start out
Yeah.
with lemon. So,
Yeah.
without further ado, I mean,
A- And we're gonna make lemonade if it's bad because we
that's
got
right.
lemon.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All
We
right.
got lemon. All
Here
right,
we go.
cheers.
Cheers.
Well, hmm, we'll think about it.
hmm
And we'll keep drinking. Again, we're probably gonna give an aggregate number of just what we think about it in total. We can talk
hmm
about the specific ones as we wish. But while we're mulling over, we're going to be drinking, mulling over, we're going to talk about our serious thought. And that's basically just the pros and cons of human, space
Space.
exploration. Yeah,
hmm
basically humans going out into space and both the benefits and maybe even the detriments. Like what
hmm
would be, the pros and the cons, what would be good about it, what would be bad about it. Um, but I'll just let you go, Thom. What are your thoughts on humans going into space and exploring?
Yeah. Well, I've been watching astronomy videos lately, and they talk a lot about like space travel with like humans and stuff like that. Uh, of course, there's always the people talking about say like overpopulation on Earth, or maybe needing additional resources and stuff like that. They found on the moon there are tons of little excuse me like pockets of like frozen water, like ice, in like craters and stuff like that, that they can use to make fuel. There's also uh, this, I think, what do they call it? Is it? I think is it Earth rare? What I don't. It's like helium-3, which
Mm-hmm.
it's very rare on Earth. I think it's well, I mean they know where a lot of it is. It's just very difficult to mine that and get that. But it's also, I think, highly regulated because I think it's used for like say like making nuclear weapons and stuff like that. So highly regulated, but it can be used for a lot of beneficial things. I think they can use that for certain fuels and things
But
like that,
helium
with
is
energy.
in the
Yeah.
in the concept of outer space, though.
Mm,
From what I understand, helium is one
mm.
of the most common.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that's what our sun uses,
yeah,
like but so they found that there are a lot of there it's pretty spread out so on the moon. There is a lot of helium-3 on the moon. And if they're like say gathering other resources there, I think one of the other problems doing it here is polluting the environment. So that's another reason I think it's regulated. So you don't have to worry necessarily as much about polluting the moon because it's
well, it has no atmosphere. I think everything.
yeah, I think it does have a little bit of an atmosphere,
Does
but
it? I thought it
I,
had. I
I
thought it was
think
pretty much open. But
or maybe I'm thinking of Mars, but because Mars does have an
yeah,
atmosphere,
Mars has, and it has a
but
magnetosphere, but it's not. It
mm,
used to be like a few
mm,
billion years ago. That's why they
mm,
think life was on Mars, but
Yeah.
it had
Well,
a much
it still
stronger
has
thing.
ice water and stuff
Oh,
too.
definitely that. Yeah.
Um,
Whether there
so
was life or
and
not, though, I think is still sort of
yeah,
up in the air. I mean,
yeah. Of course, we're talking about sending colonists to Mars, and hopefully the native Martians there. We don't
I
have any conflicts,
mean, I don't know.
but
Ray Bradbury had some thoughts on that. The
yeah,
Martian Chronicles that he wrote, and I
yeah.
think a
So
lot of people
I don't
read
think
in.
I read those.
Oh,
I think
I
I
read
just
them
remember
in.
the
I think I read them in middle school. I think it was required. I don't know. I think we had to
yeah.
read it,
He
but
did. Well, middle school for me was homeschool, and my mom wasn't a really good
oh,
teacher for that. So, but
mother,
anyways,
mother, mother needs to work on
so
her science.
but one of there are a few risks though. So here on Earth, we have our atmosphere and our magnetic field that protect us from solar radiation. With astronauts, when they go up to space, they're not as protected, and so like right now, I think they're only allowed to be in space. I think 1,000 hours or whatever. Like I don't, maybe it's less. Maybe I can't remember what the. It's like maybe the thousand numbers, like how much of the measurement they're allowed to be exposed to before they can't go back.
Well, we
But
had those two astronauts that were stuck.
yeah,
Remember, they couldn't get down until
mhm,
they got a ride. Was it from the Russians? I don't remember. They had to get a ride from.
might
Remember,
have been.
we had like two American astronauts that were stuck up
Yeah,
there for way like it was like 9 months longer than what they
was
had
it?
planned. It was something like that. It was at least like
Yeah.
6 months
Well,
or something like that. Yeah, it was a long
so
time.
and the problem with that, they also did a test. I can't remember how long the test was for, but they had two identical twins. They sent one up into space and left one here on Earth. And being up in space, you lose bone density. I've seen pictures of them being strapped down to like a treadmill so they can run and exercise. And another problem is our heart is used to pumping blood on Earth's gravity, and it's super efficient if you're up in space. So that can cause other issues. Um,
Wouldn't
and then, of course, going to
wouldn't you want to be super efficient? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe not.
I can't remember. I can't remember what all the health issues were that can
Yeah.
cause, but I think maybe it's more so when you come back. And then also, we don't really know how the human body would fare in low gravity, like on Mars or the moon. Well, the moon, yeah, we weren't really on the moon long enough, I don't
I
think, for them to
mean,
really have any studies on
well, we
that.
haven't
But
colonized anything
the
yet,
moon,
so
yeah.
we don't really know
So,
long
but as
term.
as far as colonizing goes, right now, I don't think if we actually like were efficient with how we managed our space and stuff like that here on Earth, physical space, not outer space. I think the Earth could handle, tens of billions of people if we are smart with it. But of course, we have conflicts and all that and whatever, and we're not as a as a race of people, whatever. We don't get along. Whatever, and so. But I think one of right now, if we were to go out and start colonizing space, one of the benefits might be, gathering resources and things like that, and there's several shows about that or movies like the Running Man remake. Uh, but we talked, I think, a lot about like the overpopulation on Earth. If you remember that with crap, I can't think of his name. The actor who played the main character. But anyways, there
Sorry.
there's another show on Amazon Prime that I can't think of the name of where we had like humans in the asteroid belt mining, and and then we had people on Earth and stuff like that, and there were conflicts, because they kind of ended up being independent and whatever, and so it's kind of fun to explore in science fiction. We've done it plenty, and you mentioned, I think, Ray Bradbury did the thing with the Martian
He
Chronicles and
wrote the
stuff, and
Martian Chronicles, but a
but
series of
but
short stories about it. Yeah.
I'm gonna open this watermelon real quick here.
I already, I've already done it too, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. If I may,
So what do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
let me say a few things. I will start with this though, and maybe it's going to be very controversial. I think space exploration isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. I think
Hmm.
the thing is this, number one, and while it seems like a lot of time, and and obviously humans will change greatly during that time frame. This world is not going to last forever. If we want if we want a real future, we're going to have to find other resources, planets, other things
Hmm.
in space. We're going to have to become at least, I mean, maybe we won't be intergalactic. Maybe we'll just be inter-solar system and have a few different
Hmm.
planets like that. I think it's a necessity. Also, we learn every time we send humans to space, we learn things. There is
Yeah.
sciences and
Hmm.
technologies, especially like satellite technology, and like you said, even just human biology, so like what can the human body take, what can we not
Hmm.
take. I think we learn more and more every time we do it. I absolutely feel like it is not a waste. Um, how do I feel about like the privatization of space travel versus it being a government thing? I don't know. I feel
I
like
think it's a good thing. I think having
I
competition, healthy competition, is good.
if there is a reason for if there is a profit motive though,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
if the motivation is a profit. However, I think like pure science, like maybe science for no reason other than just to research more, is also valuable. I would say I would be a fan more of a hybrid system. Like
Hmm.
we have privatized space travel, people who want to say they've been out in outer space. Like we sent Katy Perry. Katy Perry is an astronaut, technically.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Well, so is Mark Zuckerberg, Elon. Did
Musk.
Elon Musk went up too,
Well,
didn't he? And
yeah,
then
he owns
what's his name? The Amazon Prime. What's his name?
Jeff Bezos.
All
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Jeff Bezos. All
Yeah,
three of them have their own space programs.
yeah,
So, of course, a ticket to go up for 10 minutes or whatever. One of them is like I think like an hour trip, and another is like a 30-minute trip. So you're up in space for like 10 minutes or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's like 250 grand to get up there, or whatever the tickets cost. But I think it was Mark. No, 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 not Mark. Jeff Bezos, I think it was, has mentioned that sure, right now it's expensive, but look at like plane travel, like flying in airplanes.
yeah,
It used to be only something that the rich could afford, but now anybody can really do it, or almost anybody. I mean, there are people who can't afford to travel like that, but so he said this is just the first step towards making it available to everybody. And uh,
yeah. Definitely. But I would also say, like, I agree with you. Like, I think it's great to get more and more people into space
mhm,
and have it privatized. But I also
mhm,
think that having a public interest,
mhm,
like controlled by like a government, for instance, where they can just where NASA, for example, can just focus on, you know, like what they call blue sky research, just pure
mhm,
science, like no reason, like they don't. It's just one of those things where you don't want it to just be about a financial gain or a profit. It's one of those things where you also need like there needs to be like a public interest in and doing that.
mhm.
I hesitate to use the word socialized because I know how many people hate
Mhm.
that word, but I will say, yeah,
Yeah.
that is one of the things. Like, it's
Well,
like having libraries or schools.
mhm,
It's like one of
mhm.
those, in my opinion, anyways. But I do believe, though, I think learning about space, it is a necessity. It is not a luxury item. It's not something that I just feel like every trip we learn more and more about our environment,
Yeah.
and the more that we
Mhm.
learn about those things, I think the better it gets.
Yeah.
But we learn
I
about
think
everything on those trips. I mean, that's
I think having like some sort of like government oversight is good. We've got, was it 6 or 7 nations that have landed on the moon now,
Oh yeah.
India, it's interesting because like our satellites and stuff cost billions of dollars to make and get up there and all that. In India did it for like less than $80 million and
Yeah.
landed us there. They had a lander that it ended up at it ended up landing kind of upside down because one of the boosters stopped firing and it kind of flipped whatever. But their their precision on their landing area was far more precise than I believe any other American, Russian, or any other
European. Yeah.
Japan. I
Yeah.
think China. I think has been to the moon with landers, not people. They recently were testing like the effect of radiation with like these new suits. They sent up these like dummies in these suits to see how the radiation would affect them and stuff. And so we are going back to the moon. It's just a matter of when. And then
Sure.
of course, Mars, they're really pushing that. But uh but I think having somebody to or some organization to help coordinate all the world, because this is a world thing. Like we have and pardon me, an asteroid, I believe, that's going to be coming uh close enough to Earth. It'll be between Earth and our orbiting satellites. It's an asteroid called Apophis. So yeah, I already opened it. I
A
tried
peach.
it, the
Okay. You
peach.
too. Okay.
But I think that's another thing too is Earth's defense against not necessarily aliens. I mean, maybe we'll have to worry about that one day. I don't know, but more so like protecting us against like near Earth objects that could hit us, impact Earth. Um,
Yeah, 60,
so
65 million years ago, dinosaurs
yeah,
went extinct because of an asteroid that
and
hit
they did
Mexico.
not they didn't have a defense grid. So
Yeah, I don't know what these dinosaurs were thinking. I mean, when they had
yeah,
these dinosaur scientists that they clearly had, why were they not
and why didn't the Brachiosauruses warn everybody what was coming?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I was like, maybe they had their head in the clouds a little bit too much. I don't know. But I'm gonna try this passion fruit here.
All right. Well, strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Are we back to Bill and Ted now? Uh, uh,
Be excellent to each other.
I'm trying to think what some of the other expressions were. It's been a while
With
since I've seen the movies, but
party
be
on,
excellent to
dudes.
each other, party on, dudes. Bodacious, Uh, but yeah, no, that. Oh,
All we
oh,
are is
by the way,
dust in the wind, dude. I mean, all we are is dust in the wind.
oh my gosh. I got some stories to tell about Bill and Ted, but
Uh-oh.
so do we want to do our rating? I want to drink a little more passion fruit. I might want to take a swig of each of the others
I
too.
actually have not made it to passion fruit yet, but give me a second here. Let me taste it.
So, but yeah, no, I
Most
think
outstanding. Most outstanding. This was most unprecedented and in a most unusual day. Sorry.
Bill, I thought you got stabbed and they killed you. Well, when I fell down the stairs, I fell out of my armor.
That was so stupid. That was not.
Anyways, real quick, I guess we can just wrap up the space travel.
Sure.
I think it's important. I think, like we said, it's important for both to have the privatized part and some kind of oversight part. I Right now, I think the world has the space travel faring nations at least have agreed to not put weapons of mass destruction up in space. But who knows if they found something way around that.
That
But
would
I
be
do think
most devastating.
totally, dude. But anyways, no, I think that I think it would be a good idea to have some sort of defense kind of things for things like asteroids like Apophis that they say there's like there's like no risk of it hitting Earth, but the effect of Earth's gravity might make it a risk in the future. So when it passes by,
Well,
it could
we
eventually,
have we have a solution, Tom. We have a solution. We need
we have a
to.
time
We
machine.
don't need astronauts. We need oil drillers. Like
Oh yeah,
we
yeah,
need,
yeah.
we need oil drillers like in Apocalypse or yeah
No, 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 no. That was
Armageddon.
the
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
we
Bruce
need
Willis.
we need to get oil
But the
drillers and send them into space, and then they can land on these
um
these things.
the
And
problem though, the problem with that though is Bruce Willis is can't like mentally. He's
yeah,
got his issues. And what's his name? The black guy.
oh, is
I was.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah, he's dead. So who are we gonna send up?
Steve Buscemi is still alive. I mean,
Okay, okay, we could send Steve.
creepy Steve.
But
We
you know
send
what?
creepy Steve to space. I
I
mean,
Liv Tyler could go because her dad
yeah.
was Bruce Willis, and she could just
Ben Affleck was Batman. I mean, he's
yeah.
obviously muscular and can do
And
workouts.
and he has that robotic bat suit. I'm gonna try a little of these again here just to.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, we totally have. But yeah, we don't need to worry about those things because we're just gonna send because it's a lot easier to train oil drillers to be astronauts than it is to train astronauts to be oil drillers, as we learned.
Yeah. Oh, another thing. There's so many things we could talk about with space travel,
I
but
know there is.
well, a
There are.
benefit
There
to
are.
having, say, if we had like a base up on the moon, it would be a lot cheaper for us to send things like to launch ships or whatever to intercept some of these kinds of threats and stuff too than it would be to launch them from Earth, because we have to break Earth's gravity, and doing that from the moon, and especially if we can like get like the helium-3 or water, or whatever, the hydrogen to make fuel on the moon, we don't even have to worry about transporting stuff, except for
Well,
maybe
I
food.
mean, they talk
Which,
about like the Kuiper. Is it the Kuiper
mm,
asteroid belt? I mean,
yeah, the Kuiper Belt, that's
yeah,
where
the
Pluto
Kuiper.
is.
Yeah, there are tons. Like they said, there's diamonds. I know it's shocking to hear. It's shocking for all of us. Diamonds are not that rare, especially out in space. They're everywhere. You don't need to pay $50,000 for a wedding ring. You can, in fact, diamonds are so common, you could pay almost nothing for them. And then in like the Kuiper whatever asteroid belt,
Kuiper Belt.
there's
So
diamonds.
yeah,
There's
so you
all
have
kinds of like there's resources
resources,
galore. Like there's
and then there's the Oort cloud, which is out further than
oh
that,
the
and
Oort cloud, yeah.
that's where the long whatever asteroids come from. But or well, we haven't observed it yet. And they say the reason for that is because it's so dark, like light doesn't really get out there. It's kind of hard to observe anything there.
Yeah.
But they've done the math on like how gravitational things affect each other, that they're pretty sure that. So you have like the Kuiper Belt, I think, is more like a ring, kind of like how our planets orbit the sun. But the Oort cloud, I think, is like a sphere around our solar system. But I think
You
I
think you're
think I'm
ready?
ready to give a rating on
All
the
right,
drinks here.
let's hear it, Tom. What are we at?
I think aggregate, excuse me, probably about a 3. Some, excuse me, a couple I think were better than a 3, but I think altogether it's drinkable. All 4 of them are, they're not bad. They're not food of the gods.
Uh-oh.
And there are things that I would probably prefer to have more so than these. Like I said, I think when we tried, I think it was Truly. I'm not typically a seltzer guy, but heck, it was a lot better than that Mick Golden Light last week.
Yeah, these are
But
yeah, much better than some of the other things we've tried. So you're
so
saying 3? Is that your
I
is that
think
your
I'll go with
final?
it. I think I'll say they're average. I know a lot of like people do like them, but it's it's all right. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
I'll say I'll go slightly lower. I'm gonna say 2.75. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're very drinkable. Well, as I fade out
Hmm.
here, they're very drinkable. I think
Hmm.
they're they're the most triumphant, dude. But I would not. Uh, this is what I would say. If they're there, they're drinkable. Let's drink them. It's not my first
They-
choice, but it's
yeah,
definitely a choice, and I would not be against if I was at someone else's house
yeah.
and this is what they had, and I was just like, okay,
I think if you're grilling out with the family and friends, and you wanted to have some options, put some beer in the cooler, put some of the White Claws in. Uh, I think I might have liked Truly a little more if I remember correctly, but whatever. I mean, White Claw would be fine too, and maybe some wine coolers or something. I don't know.
some
Maybe some.
Bartle and James, which we have not done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
A
no, we
little
haven't.
Bartle,
We
and
haven't.
we haven't done Bartle and James, but yeah,
Maybe
Bartle and
some
James
Mike's Hard Lemonade for the kids.
for the kids. For our 15-year-olds and younger. No, I'm just kidding. That's how you
Yeah.
got to start them.
Did I tell you my ex-father-in-law got in trouble because they had, I think it was a hard iced tea, and he didn't know it was alcoholic, and he was sharing it with the
Uh-oh.
youngest kid, who was, I think, under 10 at the time. He's maybe like 8 years old. No, and
Wow.
you can't really taste the alcohol in them. My ex-mother-in-law and the rest of the family had been out shopping or something. I don't know, but they were home alone. And when they got back and saw the empty cans on the counter, he got in trouble. So
What do you
it's
mean?
like,
What do you mean by in trouble exactly? What is
I
in
think he
trouble?
got scolded.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. It,
Okay. I
it
was
was it
gonna
wasn't bad.
say they took him to jail.
I think it was less severe than the time that he had helped us, and I think I've told this story on another video where he had helped us remodel our bathroom. I poured him a glass of bourbon on ice because he had never had bourbon, and he's
Whoa.
typically like a Scotch whiskey blend kind of guy on ice. And
Okay.
so I poured him a glass on ice, left it on the kitchen table while we were cleaning up after finishing everything. And then my ex-wife was like, Thomas, whatever. And I came out and my oldest was like, it burns. He thought it was like apple juice or something. And
Oh.
we kind of started chuckling a little bit, and she was like, it's not funny. And then like I could not stop, chuckling a little bit as but anyways, I talked
Well,
to
this
Asher about it, or my oldest about it, but
this explains a lot, Tom. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
This
Well,
ex-
he I don't think has had any bourbon since. So I think he learned his lesson.
Give him
And he's not
give him a
21
few
yet.
years.
So,
Give him a few years.
so
Give him a few
maybe
years.
maybe I'll drive him to drink. I don't know.
I well, let's hope that is not the case. All right. So we
No,
kind
I don't
of
think I will.
so we've kind of mostly yeah. So space exploration. Tom and I,
Thumbs up.
yeah, we definitely are all for that, and may take a different form in the future, but we definitely think that that would be like a positive event. All right, so I guess we're gonna switch over to Bill and Ted, and this was most unprecedented. Tom, Tom Esquire.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. All right, so what do we think about? Let's kind of think about it. So there's in total there's three movies. Is kind of the
Mhm.
franchise. Um, First one is maybe the
So,
most beloved. The other two,
mhm.
I mean they're definitely popular.
Yeah. So, a little background that I had seen in a review on the first two movies, and then the same people did a review on the third one.
um,
Uh, they commented that the script for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was completed before I think Back to the Future was done. And they were originally their time machine. They were surfer dudes, right? So their time machine was originally going to be like this van that they used for their band and hauling surfing gear to the beach and stuff. But then Back to the Future comes out and they have a car, a DeLorean. And so they're like, well, um, we can't have they might think we're copying Back to the Future if we use the van. So what kind of a thing can we use for a time machine that's probably not very common? A phone booth. but apparently they weren't thinking about Doctor Who. So because he has the police call box. So, but
Eh,
anyways, but that's fine. So some of the mechanics, were a little cartoonish. Like when they were traveling, they went at one point they collected a few people. They went back to the dinosaur era, one of the I don't know what era, but they broke the antenna that they needed, and so they fixed it with bubble gum. It's
Seems
like,
reasonable. Well,
yeah,
not to
it's
mention the
fine.
fact
It's
that
fine.
there
It's
was
fine.
no whatever 100 million years ago or whatever it was 10 million years ago. I hate to break it to you. There were no Neanderthals or Cro-Magnon people living in
Mm,
San Dimas, California. They didn't exist. And
yeah,
it depends on what continent you're talking about, because we're not just talking about like Pangea. We're talking about like Gondwana, and yeah, no, there was no people there, but yeah, they had all they
yeah.
forced all their. Also, it was kind of funny how often they mentioned, "Oh, we gotta bag us," like it's just so easy just to go kidnap someone, and
Billy
they're
the
just
Kid.
yeah, Billy the Kid
Yeah,
is just like, well, that one may have actually Billy the Kid may have made the most sense, but like Socrates, that they're grabbing him, they're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, we're gonna take you, or
Sigmund
Mozart,
Freud.
or yeah,
Sigmund
Sigmund
Freud.
Freud.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
gosh, the I one thing I liked was that everybody had something to do.
sure,
Napoleon somehow accidentally followed, didn't he like fall into the time thing, vortex or whatever?
yeah, well,
And then he ended up,
well,
and they left him with I can't remember which one's brother
Deacon,
to babysit.
yeah, yeah, it was, jeez, I don't remember which one's brother it was either. Either
Was
way,
it
yeah,
Ted? It was Bill or Ted's brother, one of the two.
yeah, and it was yeah, and his name was Deacon. I remember that. But yeah, they took him. He took him
Oh,
bowling. He took him to the ice cream place.
yeah,
Ziggy the piggy.
Ziggy the Pig. And by the way, the two guys that did the Ziggy the Piggy song or whatever were the two writers
Oh,
that created Bill and Ted.
oh my,
Um,
I didn't
and
know that.
then when they made Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, um, crap, what was the name of the actor who played Bill? Him and Keanu Reeves were more involved.
Alex Winter.
Yeah, Alex Winter.
Alex
They
Winter.
were both more involved in the creative process. And then all four of them worked together again on the Bill and Ted Face the Music movie.
Mm.
And one thing that I've heard a lot of good from like that review, and so like the first movie, they didn't have a villain. It was just they had a history assignment to do. So they went back in time and collected like some of the characters we mentioned and Attila the Hun. They got Joan of Arc
Not
and
a,
all the
no,
ways that
it wasn't Attila. It was Genghis Khan. But
Genghis Khan. Sorry, they got Genghis Khan, and they what did they use? Was a candy bar or something to like
Twinkie,
entice them?
Twinkie.
Twinkie.
Yeah, Twinkie.
A Ghostbusters connection. Remember the Twinkie, the size of whatever? It's like, but anyways, uh, they ripped off Ghostbusters. Man, now I hate the movie.
Now I hate
So no, I'm kidding.
hate those guys.
No, but no, they didn't really have a villain, but it was still just a really fun movie to watch. And we commented on this last week with Tucker and Dale being similar to Bill and Ted, where they'd have a conflict, like was it uh, 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 Ted saying to Bill when about his stepmom Missy, he's like, "Do you remember when I asked her out to prom
Uh-huh.
in ninth grade?
Shut
Because she
up!
was like 2 years older." And
Shut
shut up,
up,
Ted!
Ted! Shut up, Ted!
Shut up, Ted! And then they were like,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they were fine.
and every time, but every time he was like, "Hey, Missy, I mean, Mom." But it was kind of funny the fact that his dad was able to attract
Mhm.
her. Oh, and yeah, and apparently they had sex in his bedroom too, which is
Oh, they
also
did. I
remember
forgot
that?
about that.
Yeah, in the first one. Well,
Uh,
and then also hold on.
shut
Well,
up, Ted!
for those who are politically correct, they did use the F word, FAG, because they called each other
Oh,
that. in a scene. You have to imagine those the
But you know, the movie
80s.
is that's the thing
Yeah,
of the time.
it's
You know,
it
it's
aged that
uh,
way.
but
Whether you're
but then in the second movie, they got a divorce and she married Ted's dad.
Yeah. Well, and then in the third one, the marriage kept going, and I think
Yeah,
Missy ended up marrying Deacon at the end,
yeah,
or whatever it
that
was.
was
It's
funny.
like, but my father is now my son, and my it was just ridiculous.
So,
Yeah.
oh man, but so the first movie they had a history assignment they had to do, and then they came back and did like like this big performance, which I guess originally um, they were going to just do a presentation in the classroom, but then they ended up moving it to like the auditorium. And honestly, I saw little clips, I think, of them doing the classroom scenes, you know, like the of their final performance. And I'm glad they went the way they did. And then in the second movie, Bill and Ted's Bogus
Biggest
Journey,
journey.
they didn't
Yeah.
really do that at all as far as like collecting uh, characters. Because what happened was, so one thing we didn't mention is sometime in the future, Bill and Ted write a song that unites the whole world and saves everybody.
Well,
And
space and time and all of reality.
is that what they said?
That's
Okay.
in the third one.
So anyways, in the second one, um, Rufus's old teacher, who is the bad guy for the movie, um, sends two evil Bill and Ted robots back in time to kill Bill and Ted. And so they don't get to write the song. And then I don't remember what his reasoning was, but so the robots go back, they kill Bill and Ted, they ruin their lives, and Bill and Ted married princesses in the first movie, which is, by the way, we're drinking girly drinks for the princesses. Um, and they so Bill and Ted were dating the princesses in this at the end of the first movie, and then in the second movie, and the evil robot selves, they were still totally Bill and Ted, except they were doing mean crap. Um, and they killed Bill and Ted. So the Bill and Ted as ghosts try to communicate with the living by possessing, I think it was Ted's dad, and then his partner. I don't, and you know, and so they're trying to talk to the police department about, hey, you know, you guys got to totally go investigate I mean, my kid's death or whatever. And then they leave those guys and go. Missy is having a séance, and they show up at the séance, and then Missy mistakes them for being like evil spirits and like banishes them to hell, and which they have that like 5 minute scene where they're falling. It wasn't quite 5 minutes, maybe it was a minute or two, but they're like, oh, and then they stop. They're like, dude, what do we do now? You want to play 20 questions? Dude, okay, yeah, let's do it, or whatever they said. And then they end up in hell. They end up in this hallway where they kind of experiencing their own personal hells, which was really funny. I don't want to spoil anything, but and then they end up meeting Death, who they actually had met earlier when they originally died, but they gave him, what did they call the? It's like a wedgie, but it was on the front, and I can't remember what they called that. A Newman or something. I can't remember, but so they did that to Death, and they got away. Well, then they meet Death again in hell, and Death says, "You can challenge me, and I will take you back to wherever you want to go, and if you win." But nobody's ever won before. Next scene, they're playing Battleship,
Mm.
and they're like B7, and then Death's like, "Oh, you sunk my battleship," and they won. And then Death's like, "No, best 2 out of 3." So then I think, what all did they play? They played like Twister. I think they played Pictionary. They played all like these classic games and stuff. And finally, Death's like, okay, fine. And they're like, okay, take us to heaven so we can find the most brilliant scientist to make good robot versions of ourselves to take out the evil robot versions of ourselves. And they end up meeting this alien called Station, which one in the movie, several people occasionally would say Station, and then Station was these two aliens that could come together to make one giant alien, who helped them make good robot versions of themselves. But what I found out from a review on the movies, the first two, was that that was an inside joke, the word station, because there was like they had cut so many things out of the movie because I think they were going over budget. And there was a scene, I guess, in the police station that they deleted everything except I think they accidentally left the word station in the script. And then, so that kind of ended up being a joke that they ended up kind of incorporating into the movie. Um, so then at the end of the movie, they defeat the robot selves. They defeat the bad guy. And then Bill and Ted's like, well, maybe we want to do a concert, but we don't know how to play our instruments. So then they go back in time and then come back to the future to play their instruments at the concert and whatever. But and then the third movie was done, what was it, 2020, 2020? I think they
20,
filmed it during
2020, yeah.
it was during COVID. And so Bill and Ted are like middle-aged, or I think, no, they're in their 50s, but so, I mean, I guess that's still kind of middle-aged, but
Yeah.
they still had not written the ultimate song that saved life, the universe, and everything. But um,
Excuse me.
they were married to the princesses, and they were in counseling. And it was funny because in the first two movies, they did everything together. They vacationed with their princesses together. They got married together. Whatever they did, um, and they were doing marital counseling together. So, and then they both had two daughters. Or no, I mean, they each had a daughter
A daughter.
who were basically just
Them.
female versions of
Of them,
themselves
yeah.
as teenagers again, because they were teenagers, I think, in the first one, right? Yeah, because they were in high school. They were doing like that history project. So anyways, um, Bill and Ted decide they're going to use their time machine to well, I think
Not
Rufus's daughter or
choose they
somebody.
not choose to. They were told that they only had so much time in order to
Yeah.
stop space,
Oh
all of
yeah.
space and time from falling apart. But they only had so much
Okay.
time, and then like the daughters went through and got like Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix, and because they were trying
Yeah.
to get people to
Beethoven.
Beethoven,
And
yeah, yeah, to
was
get
Beethoven in that one? I can't remember.
uh, Be-
No, I
no,
think
he was in the
Beethoven was in
first
the
one.
first one.
Yeah, he was in the
Okay.
first. Remember, he's like
Or-
on like all the pianos,
Yeah.
like in the
Oh
mall,
yeah, at the mall.
The San Dimas Mall, and he's like,
That that mall thing with Sigmund Freud with the hot dog going down as he's talking to the
I know,
girls. That was very.
it was
It's so
so.
funny.
There are so
But
many things they did in that movie that you could
yeah.
not do today. That there was.
So Bill and Ted in the third one, Bill and Ted Face the Music. They decide they're going to do what they've always done. They're going to just go to a time when so like in the first movie, they needed, was it Ted's dad's keys or something? So they're like, let's go to the future. Oh no, let's go back to the past before your dad lost his keys, and then let's like go and leave them here in this bush.
Right behind the sign, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
and then
they're
like,
here,
oh,
dude.
hey, look,
Dude.
dude, now we got to totally remember to do that now in
Whoa.
the future.
Whoa, this was most unprecedented.
Excuse me. So, and like I said, I got to stop. I got to be careful with my voice doing that. But anyways, they so in the third movie, they decide they're going to go to a time when they've written that song,
To take the
and they're going
song
to
because
just
they don't
and
have enough
yeah.
time to write the song, but yet
Mm.
they keep meeting themselves. And I would say, let's just say Keanu Reeves, because he's Ted, whatever. Keanu Reeves, I mean, his character is a lot. Well, he's an alcoholic. Not that we can say anything, but he's an alcoholic, and
The future Ted, right?
yeah, the future Ted, and that he's bad at everything. Bill, while also not great, is also, but a little bit. He's a little bit more toned. And Alex Winter, a little bit toned down. But the Dave Grohl one, I think, is especially because he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the best song ever. Who wrote this? Oh, it wasn't us. It was Dave Grohl." And like, apparently, if you get into Dave Grohl's house, they don't just send
Yeah.
out the police; they send out the whole SWAT team. Apparently, is and
Hmm.
and as you can see, I'm wearing a Nirvana shirt today, which is Dave Grohl, but also Foo Fighters, which is also
I'm wearing a white T-shirt because a GIF I
you're
shared with Mike earlier was Bill S. Preston Esquire was just wearing a white T-shirt, but yeah,
and
no,
Thom is
and
now living in a trailer park, so he is a white. He needs to wear wife beaters to
wife
attract
beaters don't have sleeves,
attract
and
the.
that's not
You got
culturally sensitive, Mike.
no,
Or
no, it's not. But I bet you're gonna get a lot of white trash ladies as we go
eh, well, so anyways, back to the
back
movie.
to the movie. Yeah, back.
No, one thing I like about the third movie, that it was basically the because so you had the two guys that created Bill and Ted. They wrote the first movie,
Sure.
and then we had the second movie, and Winters and Reeves were more involved in the creative process, and then all four of them worked together really well for the third movie. And you had things like somebody sent a robot back, not an evil version of themselves, but like a robot. He looked like a robot back to kill
to
them,
take
right?
them out. Yeah, to take them out.
Yeah, and
And
but he ends up being like trying to be friends with them. So, I mean, he does kill them, right? Because they ended up going back to hell, reconnecting with Death, who they'd had a falling out with because oh, this was something I forgot about in the credits of the second movie. They had newspaper clippings saying that Death had joined Wild Stallions. He'd played bass, and then they had some internal fighting, or whatever. And then he went off and did his own bass solo album or something. And none of that was a part of the writer's vision for the movie. That was somebody else adding that on.
mm,
And so then they incorporated it into the third movie. They didn't like it, I think, in the second movie, but they ended up incorporating it because it, I guess, is in the movie. So they decided not to ignore it. Um, and they reconnected with Death, and they made up, and he helped them get back to Earth. And the robot came with them. Oh, I think Bill's dad, didn't he die or something? Because he ended up in hell in the van with. No, I think he ended up going to hell with the daughters
mm.
to get their dads. And then they came back, and then they had. I don't want to spoil the end of the movie, but I mean, obviously, they of course probably just wrote the song, but I won't spoil how it happened because it was totally. I knew it was going to happen. I did not expect it to happen the way they did it,
Mm.
and I was like, I actually kind of like the way it came out. Um, it
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 was
was.
a good ending for the
Mhm,
franchise, and yeah, there's
mhm.
obviously going to be no more. Um, there will
I
be
wouldn't
no.
mind seeing a mo-
I don't
I
think
wouldn't mind seeing a
they're
movie with
not
the
doing it.
daughters.
I mean, maybe
I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
they could find some princes and drink lagers or something. But
Well, let me ask you this: where else would you rather be than right here, right now, Tom Esquire? Where would you rather be than right here, right now?
Tom E. Esquire.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of, yeah. I mean, to kind of wrap it up here. I mean, yeah. I mean, definitely. If you've never seen any Bill and Ted movies, watch them. They're good. They're, especially the first ones. They're very, of the times. If you want to look at California, whatever culture,
Late,
surfer culture,
mid to
stoner,
late 80s, 90s, early
yeah,
90s.
yeah,
Yeah.
stoner culture, even, which they don't. I mean, they don't push that in the movie. But
Yeah, no.
obviously, Bill and Ted
But
are
it
not
was it
exactly
was a
the
good.
smartest of people. But yeah,
I think all three movies for the most part, outside of some sexual references, maybe there were some light sexual references, like the one about Missy and what's his name's dad having sex on his bed. But I forgot about that because there really isn't much of that at all. So
and they call it. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna call it out because yeah, they hugged. So after they thought that Ted had died, they gave each other a big hug, and they're like, "Fag." And they both look like fag, which again
yeah,
in today's culture would not go over well. This is not a reference we necessarily support, but it's what at the time 19 well they filmed it 1988. The movie came out 1989. I mean that's
mm,
it is what it is, and if you want to judge them for that, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, don't. I will say this though, right now, if you like what you're seeing on this screen, subscribe, like, dislike, share, comment. Whatever you want to do. Thom and I are here. We're going to keep talking. We're not going to stop anytime soon. So you might as well get on board and watch all of
we got to
these videos for us with us.
we got we got to start using theme songs like right now we could be playing Queen. Don't stop me now.
If only it wasn't
Oh,
copyrighted. I
oh, oh, that's right. It's copyrighted.
I
Dang it.
can't do everything on YouTube, but all right. So that's what we have. Thom, any last comments, thoughts,
No,
concerns, anything you want to say?
White Whiteclaw's fine. Space travel. There's a lot of stuff we didn't even touch on. Like there's
Sure.
people talking about like genetic manipulation to help people survive space, whatever. But that's controversial, though, of course. Uh, but I mean, there's so much more to talk about with that. I mean, check it out. I mean, there's lots of videos on YouTube that you can watch if that's your thing. There's lots of stuff you can read. I think NASA has live feeds on their website of things like from Mars. Although with the government shutdown, I don't know how is the government still shut down? I haven't watched the news in a couple of days,
It is.
but
It is. It
but
is. Yeah.
they stopped a lot of their feeds, I think,
Sure.
at the shutdown. But um, but there's still stuff on YouTube. You can find stuff online. Bill and Ted, I recommend all three movies. I think the third one, maybe some people might be a little more hesitant because it's so long after the first two.
Sure.
I know they've been trying to make it for years, but I don't think they could find quite the right story or whatever for it. And then they finally, the one that they came with was fantastic. And I love the music that they wrote in for the third one, like at the wedding when they had the was that theremin
Oh yeah, yeah. That was so
the
ridiculous.
hands
Yeah.
with. It's like, oh my gosh, I really like that song. It was really cool. But yeah,
Well, all I can
and
say is,
Keanu Reeves is and Winter Alex Winters, two fantastic guys. I don't know much about the writers except I've heard they're pretty cool. Um, but I know like Keanu gives a lot back to society. And I heard he's just a dream to work with, and Alex, he hadn't been doing much with acting, I don't think, since maybe the early 2000s. I don't remember, but it was great to see him back on screen. So
well, this has been
it was totally
most
excellent,
triumphant.
dude.
It was. All I will say is this: be excellent to each other.
Yes,
Party on, dudes. Part.
excellent.
All right.
All
Everyone
right.
else, have a great night. We'll talk to you later.